on this week's episode of Fair Cutie Files, I'm going to talk a little bit from my home about how I balance being a lawyer full-time and having a farm. It's a hobby farm, not a real farm. So for all those real farmers out there, don't shoot me for saying that. But it's a hobby farm. My husband and I and my daughter have 6 acres. And we have 3 mini donkeys, 3 sheep, 2 goats, and 40 chickens. And then we have a Belgian Malinois and Dutch Shepherd mix. He's 1. We have a Shiba Inu psychopath, and she's 6. And then our old man Shiba Inu, he is gonna be 17 this year. He is the cranky old man in the house. So I want to talk a little bit this week about what it's like to somehow do all the things, right? Because I think that sometimes moms don't get enough credit for all the things that they do. It's really hard to be a mom and also to work full time and to do anything else that you've taken on. So most of you know that the rest of my life looks hectic. We adopted our niece this year. We have guardianship over our niece, I guess I should say, this year, but it feels very much like she's ours. So we took that on. We've had her for a couple of years, so we took that on this year. We live in the country, so you're going to hear a lot of tractors and stuff. Because it is coming season. So we took on Sophie this year, and I think that I've had her for a couple of years, but this year really changed my perspective on what it means to work full time and mom full time. Obviously, I've always looked at my friends who are moms who work full time and thought, oh my God, how are you doing that? It's got to be exhausting. Even with a really great partner, I'm very lucky to have a husband who's supportive and there and who takes care of Sophie, picks her up from school and goes through homework with her before I get home and and cooks dinner all the time because I can't cook. So I'm really lucky to have a husband who can cook because the boat missed me there. But I'm really lucky to have that. And I know a lot of people aren't. So when I say that I'm balancing things, I think the only reason that I'm able to do half of the things I'm able to do is because I have the support system I have. I have, my sister, obviously, who helps with all this stuff. I have my husband, I have my mom, and we have really great friends who show up and support us and Sophie in ways that, maybe not everybody has. So I think without our support system, people are like, hey, you can't run and do that today, but I can, so I'm going to go do it. So you don't have to, because I see it on your face that you can't do that today. I think without that support system, I think that this would be really, really rough. But my husband takes care of our farm full time. That's his job, is to take care of our farm and our family, because I'm working. And when I come home, I pitch in and do my part too. So we have we don't have specific jobs. We very much are a partnership. So it's not like I always do the dishes and he always does, the cooking or whatever. We kind of switch on and off and just try to make it as equal as we can, as fair as we can. Because I know how much he's doing when I'm at work, and he knows how much I'm doing when I'm at work. So we try to make it a little bit more fair there. But we do sometimes, there are days where I have to work from home because something's happened here, or my husband's doing work. Right now, he's building a chicken coop, so it's a great example. I didn't have any court today, and I didn't have any in-person appointments today, and I have a setup here at home where I can work completely from home. I do admittedly like to do my appointments sometimes on this front porch right here. On my swing, because the swing is my favorite place in the world. But sometimes I do have an office that I do my actual appointments at upstairs if I need to be typing, if I can't have my sister on the phone with me to take notes or something. But sometimes if it's really nice, like today, I just bring my laptop out here, sit on the front porch and do my appointments out here, talk to people. It gives me some space, some peace and quiet, have some privacy, but also allows me to be outside and find some solace in the day, maybe, or if it's been a rough week. I didn't post anything about this, but it's been a hard couple of weeks. We've had a lot of losses in our family, so we've had a couple of funerals, and it's been just a tough couple of weeks. So today I came out to let the animals out. I have to we have cheer practice every morning at 6 a.m. I get there about 10:02 because I have girls that want to come early and work out because they're trying to get in shape for competitions this season. So I go there about 5:50 in the morning. We do cheer practice from 6:15 to 7:30, and then The girls go to school. I come home. I get ready for the day, unless I have to go straight to court, in which case I go to practice ready at 5:50 and then go straight to court. But I come home, I get ready, I go to work. I did that as normal today. I came home, I got ready, I went to work. I ran home because I realized I forgot something, so I ran back home to grab my notes. And when I pulled up, I realized that one of my donkeys was laying in the field. And she doesn't normally lay down. She's not like she lays down at night in her stall, but she doesn't lay down during the day. She's pretty active, so I knew something was wrong, so I went out to check her, and she's got an abscess. It happens this time of year. They find a rock in the ground. I don't know if the rocks just like magically appear this time of year. I have a guess, but I don't think they do. But my donkey must have stepped on a rock, and she has an abscess in her hoof now. She can't put any weight on it. So that had to be treated this morning. So my husband was working on building a chicken coop because we have 32 baby chicks that are ready to go into a coop, a bigger coop. They're in a coop right now. They need to go to a bigger coop that's theirs, that's safe, that where they're protected from predators because they're too small to fly still. But too small to be outside and too small to fly still. But too big for the little coop that they originally started in. They're too big for the brooder. So now they need to be in a bigger space. So he's been working on a chicken coop, building a chicken coop. So I decided I was going to come home, go to Farm and Fleet, grab the stuff I needed, and come home and work on doing poultice for her foot and trying to get her wrapped up, get her soaked in Epsom salt so that we could try to make that go away a little bit faster. It pulls all the abscess out. You wrap it, and then you put that poultice on it. It pulls everything out, and then you pull it off a couple days later. So she's wrapped up. We got her wrapped up this morning. I went and got them hay and stall covering pine flakes because they haven't been inside. They haven't wanted to come in, I don't know, 3 months because it's summer and they like to be outside if they can be. I bring them in every night in the winter because I'm a crazy donkey mom, but most people don't do that with their donkeys. They let them stay in and out because they're pretty hardy animals. But I'm too crazy for that, so I bring them in at night because I think it's too cold. So they did come in willingly today, which is how I know if they need to be in. If they are willing to come in the barn, that means they need to come inside. So they came in and they've got, I had to give them food and water and fill all their stuff and clean their stall out the way we would normally do before they come in one good time for the winter, and then they get their stall cleaned every day. So I did that this morning real quick before I started work, and then was able to start working from home. I'm lucky enough to have an assistant that I can call and put her on the phone, and I can just call my clients and kind of run through calls, and we can get all the tasks that need to be done, even though I'm working from here because I have a laptop that hooks up to my work computer. So that makes things really, really easy. And I'm lucky enough to be able to, call people. I have my own cell phone, obviously, that people call me on all the time for work. And we used that to get a hold of everybody today pretty much all day long. I've still got some calls to do after this is over even because I do appointments from 11 to 1 and then from 3 to 5. So there's a little break in there for me. But we'll go back to doing appointments after this is over, and then I'll have to go back out and refarm them tonight and check them, make sure their water is refilled and they're good, and give them more hay and get the sheep and goats in because they're presently playing outside, having a great time. I'm sure there'll be social media pictures of how cute the sheep and goats are because they love their mom and love farm life and have the best time here. And we're lucky enough, like I said, to be able to provide sort of I would call it a refuge. They're more pasture pets than where they really don't serve. They don't serve any economic purpose more than they're more so. All of them were from places. They all either were show goats or show sheep for my little cousin Gracie, who, by the way, it's her birthday. So won't be posted today, but what it is, happy birthday, princess! I love you. But Gracie showed them at state. She ended up placing in state junior showmanship for it. She's really, really an incredible. She's an incredible kid. So is her brother, Curdy. It's Curdy's brother too. Happy Curdy's birthday too. They're identical twins. Happy birthday, sweet boy. They are the best kids. But they called me and they said, Alexis, I've got 2 goats that we showed, and if you don't take them, I'm afraid somebody will buy them and they'll go to market. And they're too sweet to go to market. And that's not always the case, but it was a piece. So they were our first that came. That was Steve and Dale. They were our first ones that came to move in. They're both goats. They're both boar goats. And then we got Hank shortly thereafter, who was hit by a car last year, tragically, and passed away. Tragically and passed away. And then We have two sheep, her sheep. I call them her sheep, and Oreo. They're the sweetest mini Shetlands that you've ever seen. They're so cute. And then we have Tigger, who was also Gracie's show sheep. So he moved in last year, and he's I don't know, a giant dog. Basically, he follows you around, will eat out in the palm of your hand, and just wants to be loved constantly. You'll like literally sprint at you through a pasture when he sees your car coming down the road. It's hysterical. So they live out there, and then we've got the three donkeys. We have Independent, Midnight, and Snowflake. All three of them, all three girls, are 3 years old, 4 years old now. But we've had them since we moved out here. They are the sweetest. They're herd protectors. Like their job is to protect the rest of the herd, keep everybody safe from predators like coyotes that could come in the yard. Obviously, we live in the middle of the country, so there's a lot of coyotes out here that come in and out. Not so much on our property because the donkeys do a pretty good job of deterring that. They're pretty mean if you get in their way and they don't want to hurt somebody they love. So they're pretty mean. And it's funny, actually, today we have all the sheep and goats are outside because the donkeys are herd. The donkeys are in a herd. So you can't put, like if one of them needs to be on stall rest because she can't walk very well and she's to be protected more from predators, you can't just put her in a stall and leave the other two out because the other two will get like separation anxiety, basically. Like I have one that'll literally she'll break down a door to get to her sister. So you have to let them all in together. So all three are on stall rest, even though only one of them needs to be on stall rest. All three on stall rest together today, eating hay and just laying down in there, relaxing, drinking water, living their best lives in the comfy, warm barn. So they're doing fine in there. But we had to move all three of them in today for a couple of days. They'll probably be in and then I'll put them back out. But one of the questions I think I get the most is how do you find the time to do those things? So farm life does look different for me. And when I wanted to do this, my mom was very confused. My mom consistently says that she could never picture me living farm life and wanting to get up and, clean stalls every morning or feed the animals or let them out at 5 a.m. or whatever I have to do. And if you ask my sister, I think, or anybody else who really saw how into animals I was, I don't know why my mom doesn't get it. I feel like it's been very much who I am my whole life, forever. But my mom does not. She could not believe I wanted to be a farmer, but I do very much. So we do. We have the farm, and that's my place of solitude and my place of bringing it back to center when I'm trying to work or trying to do hard things. And it's maybe been a hard time as I work from home one day. I get caught up in some of my home chores while I'm working. And I also am able to go outside on my lunch break and sit with the sheep, which is a little bit covered, which you'll see from the social media pictures too. I was able to go out on my lunch break and sit down and, give them treats and pet them and take care of Midnight on her poultice and whatever else we had this morning. So it's pretty neat. I'm lucky to have somebody like my husband who has experience with animals, especially horses. He grew up with horses. So he and our farrier are the two that taught me how to do that and how to take care of them if something were to happen like that with the abscess. So I'm lucky to have, my husband around who knows how to do those things and he can help. And who mostly does them. I literally only did it today because he had to build a chicken coop and that has to take priority because we got to get them into a bigger space. They come in and out of this little space and it's getting too small for them because they're growing rapidly. They're huge now. We started with 32 one-day-old chicks, and now we have 32 very large chicks. And when I say chicks, I mean birds. They're birds now. So they need to move into their larger home permanently. So we're going to finish that up this week. I won't tell you it won't be a little bit bougie. If you've met me or my husband, really, you know that we're a little bougie. So it will be a little bougie, especially since he's building it. So we have to design exactly what you wanted. But that is it's just part of, doing these things. So he had other things that had to be done this morning. So I took care of the donkeys while I was working. I can do those things. I can go out, take 20 minutes, take care of them and go right back in and hit demands again. And because I have the luxury and ability to work a little bit later tonight after I pick up my daughter from school, who has to study for a test day anyway. So we'll have plenty of time while she's studying for a test for me to sit and do appointments in the other room and do demands and run through emails and do all the things that I would normally have done during my 20 minutes I took to do the poultice this morning. So it does make it really, really great that I'm able to take that time, and actually it helps my mental health, which I think is an important topic in general, not just my mental health, but everybody's. It helps my mental health to be able to do those things because I enjoy taking care of my animals and spending time in the barn. It's my place of peace. Like, I really like mucking out a stall. It's crazy to say that because it's poop, but I really like mucking out the stall because it calms me down, and I think it's very peaceful to be doing something for my animals. And I love the way that they react. So they get mucked, they get their stall cleaned out, poop wise every day when they're in, but it gets mucked, like scraped down to the bare bones, like every 3 days. And like washed and whatever, like we're washing everything, scrubbed, like every 2 to 3 days. Depends on how bad it is. If there's a lot, maybe we'll do it more. But we do it like every 2 to 3 days. And my favorite is when they come in from the bare bones muck that night, they like instantly drop and roll around, and it's the funniest. They like huff and puff and make these little happy noises. That's my favorite thing in the entire world to listen to. So there's a lot of joy in watching them like enjoy the life that we are creating here for them. And I like that part of farm life. But also, farm life has to do with, we have a Belgian Malinois Dutch Shepherd puppy, who's a puppy still. So a lot of that is like at night after work, I come home and I train him. My husband trains him all day, but I have to have time training him too. So at night I come home and we do training together in the yard. He and I walk around, work on heel without a leash. We work on playing, good association and playing ball in the yard together. And we work on listening skills. And he's an incredible dog anyway. He's like the smartest. I mean, my 17-year-old Chiba, I think, is the smartest dog ever. He runs everybody in this house. So I think he runs the Dutch Mallee, which is crazy. But I think, is the smartest dog ever. But my Dutch Mallee is an incredibly intelligent dog. I mean, if you have me on Facebook, he also tore up my entire couch this week because he was trying to get his ball out of the cup holder. Mom wasn't paying attention. And so luckily we were getting a new couch. Anyway, so it's fine, but he tore up my couch trying to get the cup holder out because the ball got stuck in the cup holder, and he was convinced the cup holder stole it. So he had to get it back. That was his idea. He's a character anyway, but that's part of our night at home. And the two Shibas both like to go outside and play or run, and then we come in and everybody eats dinner, and we like to cook as a family. I mean, I don't really cook. I mostly just like chop things up or like say, "Can I help?" It's a background until somebody gives me some sort of job one way or the other. But we spend a lot of time cooking together and cleaning together. We do dishes all together as a family. We put them all away together, and then at night, if she doesn't have any more homework, we either play Yahtzee or we do Legos as a family. So that's very much what my own looks like. We love Legos in this family. We have shelves and shelves of Legos that we built together. But we all like to do our own box because we're too competitive to do them together because we try to rush your bags. So we did build a Harry Potter castle together, though. I highly recommend that. If you need a family activity, build a Lego together. It's a really good time. Get one of the hard ones because it took us a couple days. I mean, it wasn't like quick. We took a couple nights to do it. We generally spend about an hour doing like family time stuff at night just because she's got practice or other things, or we have games or whatever. And then by the time she does her homework, she's in honors algebra. Not that I haven't bragged about my kid enough. She's pretty great. But she's in honors algebra. She's in high school algebra. And she's always got homework. I mean, always consistently is homework almost every night. Even if she got through most of it at school, she's got a double check in or whatever she needs to do. So she will do her homework for about 2 hours, and then we do dinner. By the time we cook and clean up dinner, and then we do our family activity, it's time to shower and lay our stuff out for the next day because we get up, like I said, at about 4:45, 5 o'clock every morning so that we can be ready for cheer and whatever else we have to do that day. So farm life is definitely hectic, but also it's very much the life that my husband and I decided we wanted to create out here for not only for us, but for Sophie, and to be able to provide a life for all these animals that we love and who make our hearts happy, is a blessing. And we're constantly trying to work on and improve the properties. Like we just tore out a fence because we're going to put in a huge garden next year and try to build it to a feedlot, not only for our family, but to help try to feed other people in the area. We've been doing some cleaning out of brush and trees that didn't, necessarily benefit the property in any way. They just existed, sort of. So we're trying to clean out and make this yard a little cleaner so that we can do more productive things with it, encourage more wildlife like bees and butterflies to come in. Like one of my favorite parts about this house, we bought this house, and right before our wedding, actually, too. It was really cool. The week before our wedding, the one day we had to have had 1,000 dragonflies up back at the house, just like 1,000 of them every year. And then there's another day, it's like the same week before the wedding. It was wild. The week before our wedding, we had a bunch of different butterflies everywhere. Like there were butterflies all over the property, like everywhere. And then we also had a pair of mated doves, white doves, that landed on our roof of our shop, and were like just there. They were only there for like 2 weeks, and then they left and went wherever they are now. I don't know. Hopefully they're safe. I don't know. But they left here. They were only here for about 2 weeks. They were here the week before wedding, the week after, and then they left. And I haven't seen them since. So this property has brought us a lot of evidence of blessings here, and we're grateful for the life that we're creating. But it helps me be better at work because it's very obvious to me that we were meant to do the things we're doing. And the property and the things that we're doing here, even though there are a lot of days where I'm very tired at the end of the day, like when at 9:30 at night or 10:30 at night when I'm still working stalls and doing water, there's a lot of days where it's very evident to me that even when I'm tired, that I'm doing work that's worthwhile. And that is really the point of this, is to remember that even when you're doing all of them, as my best friend has said since we were 5, you can do the hard things. If man was Steph, right? You can't do the hard things, because even when they feel hard, if they're worthwhile, it makes it easier, a lot easier to do the hard things. So that's what it's like to balance farm life with real life, with lawyer life, with, mom life. We'll probably do an episode on working moms at some point and owning your own business and being a working mom. And I'm sure my sister will sit in on that because I just volunteered her to do it on the podcast. So she'll have to do it now. Gotcha. But we can do an episode on that too, because I think that's working moms and working dads who come home and are taking care of kids at night and still trying to do with the work that is expected of people these days. The hours are not what they used to be. People are reachable 24/7. So it makes it harder to be home and be present as a parent, and also to be home and present as a person, because you're not just a parent. I'm not just a parent. I'm not just a lawyer. I'm not just a farm, owner. I'm Alexis, and I have a personality, and I have things that I like to do that make me happy and keep me going. And it's not always Legos or anything else. Sometimes I just need to take a bubble bath for 2 hours and nobody needs to talk to me. And I need to watch The Nanny, or I Love Lucy. That's my happy show. So, just a reminder, take care of yourself, because you're not just whatever labels that you have to be, or that you enjoy being. You're you too. So take care of you too. That's on the Therapeutic Styles this week. That's that. And that's that. And now I gotta go get my kid. Oh, because she's out of school right now. She sure is. Oopsies. She'll be fine. You said 3:08. It takes you 2 minutes to get down there. Right over here.